Cristo Rey, 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 broadcast. Oh boy, here it comes.
Hey Cougars, welcome back to the Cristo Rey podcast. I'm your host Vivian, and I'm here with
Riley.
Kathleen.
And today we're talking to the Future Healthcare Professionals Club with
Benny
And Tyler.
So can you tell us a little bit about your club and what you guys do?
So I'm the president of Future Healthcare Professionals, and the whole goal of the club is to kind of like, it's like kind of feel like in the name, we just kind of explore different healthcare careers, and inside of the club, we also are trying, since it's like still a new club, we're still like recruiting people, so we're trying to like have like volunteer like opportunities and trying to have like guest speakers, things like that. That's more like related into like healthcare if you're interested in it. Yeah.
So I was curious, why did you guys like create the club? Are you guys interested in like being like healthcare professionals, like doctors or nurses or?
Yeah. So originally the first plan was to make HOSA. So if you've seen online like things about HOSA is basically like an international, like it's like a national club that's mainly healthcare related. But going through the process of that, we weren't able to because talking with Mrs. Lawford-Swilenham, she mentioned that it's too complicated, and if we were to do HOSA this year, it will have to be a trial, not the actual thing. So I felt as if that was a waste of time. So with the advisor, we came up with Future Healthcare Professionals, which is just like kind of like an alternative of HOSA. But and in the future, we are still looking forward to like having the club HOSA still.
So I was curious, what are like your favorite parts of like being part of this club? Because I know you guys started it, so it's probably like, I don't know, you probably enjoy it a lot. So like, what do you enjoy about it?
Yeah, I enjoy everything about this club. You know, it's so interesting to see like diverse interests in people's like healthcare careers, like interests, because at the beginning of the club, when it was being made, we had like, it was kind of like a rough start, but eventually we started having more people, and then with those people, there was an interest form of what you want to be, and then through those interest form, that's how we kind of like manage the club. And the best part about it is coming up with new ideas on how you can like, you know, see if people like, I don't know how to explain it, but the best part about it would be like trying to like help them, you know, how like the club is about like choosing your career if you're really sure about this. Yeah, so basically the best part is just like kind of like working together to see if you're really interested in like pursuing this like medical career together. And then just recently we also had like kind of like a conversation or discussion about like how to choose a health career, like a future healthcare.
What I also like is because we also strive with connection among our people, as if you're not connected at such a young age, you're going to struggle in the future with the opportunities, as connections and talking and conversations are very much a need for the future.
Hi guys, it's Leah. This week is the third full week of Lent. Here's Miss Yelich with a special reflection for this week.
During Lent, many people give up things such as chocolate, and while this is certainly good, there are other ways that we can grow deeper in our faith during Lent. We live in an age of distractions everywhere. We're constantly occupied with something that takes away our attention, our phones and TV, emails, and all sorts of things. This Lent might be a good time to take this challenge and get rid of some of those distractions and necessary ones, and be mindful. When we are mindful, it will allow more time for us to pray to God. And when we pray to God, we will hear His voice, and we will know what we need to do, what God is calling each one of us to do during this Lent. It is also going to be a good practice because it will allow us to see those around us clearer, and it will give us an opportunity to help people who are in need, who we might not notice due to all these distractions that I've mentioned. So please take some time during this Lent to just be mindful. Pray to God and see where God leads you and where God calls you to go and what God calls you to do.
Wait, you said you wanted to be a pathologist?
Yes.
What is that?
Okay, so a pathologist is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's someone who sees the cause of death rather than like examining the body. Something that I always wanted to pursue because it's like causes of deaths are not very hard, like not easy to find out because, you know, you can get hit in the head and maybe it could be a gunshot wound or like a random wound, but that's just something that I'm interested in health because it's something that people have to take a large step into becoming, and it's hard, and it's something that I wish that I can do. So yeah.
So you like a challenge?
Yes, I like a challenge.
So, could you walk us through a meeting of the Future Healthcare Club?
Yeah. So, what the meeting would look like really depends on the day and the activity that we're doing. Using last week's meeting, where we were just having a conversation about how to choose a healthcare career, and that meeting, you just come in, you introduce yourself if you're new, if you're not, and after the meeting, we usually start with the activity. So last week we had watched a video that it was a 10 or 5-minute video that discussed about how you should choose a healthcare career. And then after that, we just kind of discussed about it by having like a fun little game that kind of is like relevant towards the topic. And after that, it's like kind of a reward, like snacks, stuff like that.
That sounds really awesome. Something that I know a lot of students would be interested in.
Yeah, I heard like a lot of people like when people have snacks at clubs, but also I just think it's really cool to have like a club where like if people like want a certain career, they can like learn more about it until like having to wait until they're like in college and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the fun part about the club. You get to dive deeper into the healthcare path that you're interested in, and that's why it was all started.
So what do you guys meet?
It's a bi-weekly club every Tuesdays.
So do you guys think like maybe like one day you guys would be interested in like talking about college options for like, or like future like education options for like people who like want to work in healthcare? Like, oh, like maybe these are some of the colleges that are like really good for it, or like maybe one day, like I don't know, like
I would say we will, because currently we're gonna reference a field trip that we had recently.
So not long ago, we had went to the College of Worcester, and while being there, we had a card, and on the card it had we're the graduate of the college. We're working in the future, and we had seen some very interesting, like places that they were interns in, and that kind of caught our attention. So yeah, we would be like looking into colleges. That would be good if you're interested in the healthcare.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that a lot of them went to like local hospitals here in Columbus.
Exactly, like
yeah,
the Mayo Hospital.
yeah.
And then
She talked about a lot of hospitals. They like
exactly.
It was cool.
Yeah, really cool. Wow.
So do you think you'd be interested in going to college there?
Yeah, actually, I was planning on like applying there. So
That's cool.
Hi guys, it's Cesar. During spring break, Ramadan will end with the celebration of Eid. Here's Mariam, class of 2027, to explain more.
Eid al-Fitr is a big holiday that comes right after Ramadan. It's a celebration to mark the end of fasting and all the hard work we did during the month. On Eid, we start the day with a special prayer at the mosque, and we thank Allah for helping us through Ramadan. It's also a time for family and friends. We wear nice clothes, give gifts, and eat a lot of good food. There's also a tradition of giving charity called Zakat al-Fitr to help those in need. Eid is all about gratitude, joy, and spending time with the people you care about.
So, is your club still accepting students, or is it a closed thing?
I wouldn't say it's like accepting students. Like you just come in, like it's like a regular club, like every other club, like Cristo Rey. But the people who come in the most often, like we're gonna be asking them to be members of HOSA when we do start it, because future healthcare professionals is basically just a starter base to like a bigger thing. Because before starting future healthcare professionals, the whole plan was HOSA, and we couldn't start that because his love for Silent Hill wasn't sure if students would actually be interested in that. So with the students who attend the meetings, we are looking into like kind of asking them to be members of HOSA when we do start it, because I feel like it will be easier to start looking into people right now.
What is HOSA again?
HOSA,
I was curious.
Yeah, sure. Like I said before, it's like an international competition. Like it's like really diverse. Like,
Oh, how'd you hear about it?
You know how when you want to show colleges you're interested in a specific thing? Like that's me personally. I will look at other people's extracurriculars video. I don't know if you guys do that. Like you look at like the extracurricular videos that got them into a certain college for like this certain like major. And then a lot I had noticed is talked about HOSA. And then I was like, oh, HOSA, it sounds like an interesting thing. And I seen that it's basically like this huge international club where you get to compete with other students about different topics. Yeah, so I was really interested in that, and I thought it would be like a fun thing to have at our school, because the school apparently never had it before.
Oh, that does sound really cool.
Yeah.
Like kind of like what you said, I do also like to like look up like what extracurriculars I could do to like support like,
Exactly,
what I want to do.
yes.
Yeah, because that's why I'm in Drama Club podcast. I think that's like really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So I want HOSA kind of building up so we can use like the people attending right now. We could be like, oh yeah, hey, there's a certain amount of people who are actually interested in healthcare. So if we could take like a bigger step and making it into something bigger. Yeah.
And that would look really good in like the resumes and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So you already mentioned how you want to go with HOSA first, but you decided to go with the Future Health Club. So can you delve deeper into why you want to bring HOSA into Cristo Rey in the first place?
The reason why I wanted to was because when you're interested in something, you have like this passion for it. So if there's a lot of people who do happen to be interested in like healthcare, depending like on the type of HOSA we do register into, because like I said, HOSA is like, it's like really diverse. So to explain it a little bit more, when you look at how to register on the website, there's like this place that says you choose your chapter. So it's based on a chapter, and on each chapter that you move on to, it's like a different topic from what I've learned. So I wanted to do that because it helps you like brainstorm like deeper into the topic, and you get to dive in way more than just like on a regular level. And like not only do you get to do that, but you also get to go against other schools, like other places that do happen to have like HOSA. And the HOSA is also to like build more connections, not only with students, but with also like the mentor, like the club mentor. I feel like it's really helpful to have like a stronger bond with the people you have in your club. So I thought it could be like a good opportunity to like explore like different friendships that you could build on the road.
Yeah.
Hi guys, it's Kaylin. We already mentioned earlier that we are in the midst of Lent, but March 25th is also the Feast of the Annunciation. Here's Miss O'Connell with more information.
God has been promising for centuries that he would send a Messiah, and this feast day celebrates the day God finally does what he says he would do. This is the day when the angel Gabriel appears to Mary and tells her she would conceive a son and name him Jesus. I've always been struck by the fact that even when God comes down and does the job himself, he doesn't just wave his hand to make everything better. He doesn't descend from heaven as a fully grown adult with a perfect capacity for public speaking and writing. He isn't performing flashy miracles from the sky. In case you didn't notice, March 25th is 9 months before Christmas. This means that God took the time to live and grow as a human. He had to learn to speak. He had to learn to read and write. He had to learn how to memorize the Hebrew scriptures, just like the other Jewish boys. This tells me a few things about God. First, that he is patient. He knows how to wait for the proper moment, which is something I definitely struggle with. This also tells me that he does not take the easy route. Instead of waving his hand to make everything better, he takes on all the sufferings and joys that are part of human life. Furthermore, he allows himself to feel very real pain and sorrow. He endures being crucified. This also tells me a few things about being human. First, that God thinks we're worth his time and effort, which is always a humbling experience. But mostly, it tells me that God wants to work with me, not for me. He isn't going to make my choices for me. He isn't going to do my job for me. He isn't going to live my life for me. Instead, he invites me to participate in what he's doing. He also isn't going to tell me what to do and then just leave me alone. He's right there beside me in all of my own joys and sorrows. We have a God who understands perfectly what it means to be human because he's walked the walk. To celebrate this special day, when God announced that he was going to become human in order to fulfill all of his promises, take a few moments to think about what God is doing in your life today. Not just the big picture, but what joys or sorrows are you living through at this very moment. It doesn't matter if it feels too big for you or too small for God. He's lived through it, and he wants to live it with you.
So I was curious because we asked this at a lot of our podcast club, like in interviews and like conversations, and I really like this question. So what would you say to like Tyler and Benny? What would you guys say to somebody like in the future who wants to start like a club that like explores like their future career and things like that? Like, what would you say to somebody who wants to kind of do what you guys did? Like, what advice would you give?
I would say go for it. Yeah. Like, don't be scared to start it. Just everything will come on the way.
I would say, like, I would agree with her because if you're scared and you don't take initiative, you're never gonna know. And even if you don't get any club members, even if it's just that one person, that communication and that connection is much more better and much more harnessed in your heart than like a million people. It's okay to start something new, and it's okay if it's weird or different, regardless if you want to do art, music, or anything. I would just say just go for it, honestly.
Okay, so you guys are talking about transitioning into HOSA. Since you guys are juniors, do you think that's going to happen when you're still running the club, or do you think it's going to happen after?
You know how, like, you can elect someone after, like, a year?
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be, like, an election, like, when we do, let's say we do start HOSA, right? And then there's the club members. Let's say there's, like, a sophomore and a freshman. And through that, we can, like, kind of have an election, but, like, depending on the amount of people we have. Because I do know a sophomore currently who is interested in a club. And if one is interested, I do believe there's, like, more who would be interested in HOSA. So if we would like to have, like, let's say around, like, 4, like, sophomores and then, like, maybe 2 freshmen, then we could, like, elect cabin members that will run the club after us, after graduation. So, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious, like, so, like, when, like, future students are, like, running the club and, like, making it succeed, like, what do you hope the future of the club will be once you guys are graduated?
I hope that the club will be something that people can use as an opportunity to learn more about what they want to be, and then to take the time, because I feel like not a lot of us take, like, the time to just think if we really want to do this in the future, or, like, maybe to, like, pick what you want to do when you grow up, because we're just so, like, caught up with homework, like, let's say you have other extracurriculars that just pack your schedule. So I feel like it's kind of hard for other students to, like, dive into, like, what they really want to do. So my hope for the club, like, in the future would be that it helps a couple people, like, just brainstorm about, like, their health career path.
Yeah, that's really cool. Tyler, what about you?
Me personally, I was gonna say for the future, I was hoping that it's a silly little nickname I came up with because I don't like calling our people who would come into our club daily as, like, people. I made them a nickname. Like, I refer to them as, like, capsules or pill bottles, like a cute little nickname, like little doctors or capsules. It's just a way to remember, like, also a level of which nickname you are, because it helps us remember that you are a daily club member versus a newcomer, and it also establishes a relationship and communication skill with each other, you know?
Yeah, like a little fun thing.
Oh yeah, that's cool. And you guys are also kind of, like, learning health terms at the same time. Yeah, that's cute.
Hi guys, it's Mia. Next week is spring break. Woohoo! When we get back from a well-deserved break, don't forget that the parent-teacher conferences will be happening. Conferences will be on March 26th from 5 to 7 p.m. This is a great opportunity for your parents to talk to your teachers and have any questions that they may have answered as we enter the last quarter of the year. Don't let your parents miss it.
We talked a lot about like healthcare and like what you guys want to be, but I'm curious, like what are some things you guys like to do like outside of healthcare and outside of school and things like that?
Some of the things I like to do outside of school. Wow, what a good question. So, I'm trying to get to be more productive and do more hobbies. So I've gotten into readings, and apart from reading, I do have a job outside of school, which I do enjoy, when the check comes in. So that's one of the things I do. And I also, outside of school, what I enjoy to do, I enjoy looking after my baby sister.
Oh wait, don't you also watch anime?
Oh yeah, I do watch anime, but here and there I watch anime and K-drama and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So things that I do outside of my club, even though I spread a lot about going to the forensic scientist field, I like drawing a lot. I like drawing, reading, watching, and writing. I can write a lot. And to pick up on Benny, I love watching K-drama, and it's just a delicacy to my brain, and it just gets the nuance going,
Any recommendations?
Trapped in the Teacher.
Get out. Camille Souls.
Oh, yes, that one. That's so good. Watch
Yes.
it. Trapped in a Cheese Trap. That one's a good one.
I also read the webtoon. The webtoon's really good.
Mm-hmm. And with anime, I love anime.
Yeah. You like Studio Ghibli, right?
I love Studio Ghibli. I watched all of their movies.
Exactly, especially Princess Mononoke. Correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
so good.
Mm-hmm. And reading. Reading is fundamental only when it's good, because I like reading horror type books. Because I like murder and gruesome things.
Ooh.
I'm not a gruesome person myself because I don't like that stuff. But I like reading horror and stuff because it just entices me. It draws me in. I like it.
Okay. And she's a very good artist. Shout out to Taylor. Anyways, it was really nice to learn more about you guys and your club. So thank you for talking with us. And Cougars, please listen to the next episode too. Bye.
Cristo Rey,
Stop the music, stop the music, stop the music.
Diary, Liam, what are you doing interrupting the Cristo Rey podcast theme song?
This isn't the Cristo Rey podcast theme song, Mr. Corrigan.
Yeah, this sounds like the theme to the British sci-fi show Doctor Who.
Well, yeah, clever, right? Since this was an episode about future healthcare professionals, and Doctor Who is about a doctor who sometimes goes to the future.
But Doctor Who isn't a medical doctor.
Ha! If you were a true fan, you'd know the character's name isn't actually Doctor Who.
It is in the 1960s movie starring Peter Cushing.
Nobody counts those, Liam, and you know it.
Guys, this is too nerdy, even for you two.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, to tell you the truth, I'm actually glad that you're here. Spring break is upon us, and when we come back from break, you've just got a few more weeks of high school, and then it's over, right? You move on with life. Not only leaving Cristo Rey, but you're leaving the podcast too. So it's something to think about, isn't it? Of course, we have 4 seniors on the podcast, and they're all wonderful. But I'm actually glad you two are here in particular because you have sort of a special story about the podcast, which I wanted to highlight a little bit. And before I do, I'm going to put a little context, okay? You have contributed a lot to the podcast, and I really appreciate that. And I hope that you had a good time and are continuing to as we move through, the rest of the year. Liam, you joined sophomore year, and you have actually, I don't know if you know this, you have been in more episodes of the Cristo Rey podcast than anyone who's currently a host. Did you know that? And so it's kind of hard to imagine it without you. And Diary, you joined last year as a junior. Yeah. And I was actually talking to some of the freshmen, and they didn't realize that. They assumed you had been hatched out of an egg and was you came out podcasting. Yeah, podcasting, and they really admire you. They worship the ground you walk on. They want to be like Diary. So your contributions are great too, and you've added music and all this kind of wonderful thing, kind of spin to it. So that being said, your contributions are great, and I think they'll live on forever, even when you're long gone. But the reason why I want to talk to you two in particular is that I don't know. Hopefully you remember. Do you remember your freshman year? Both of you auditioned for the Cristo Rey podcast.
Back to back at that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And did you get in?
Nope.
No, you didn't, right? And so you came freshman year and you auditioned, and then it didn't work out. And I think that's very interesting because you came back subsequent years And just to remind the audience, you can back me up on this,
Mhm.
how the auditions work, because now you've been part of both sides of it, auditioning and also running auditions, right? I don't actually pick the people, right? It has to be you guys unanimously. And so they don't vote like 5-1 or something. It has to be in total agreement. And that was true also when you guys were freshmen trying out. And we had a bunch of freshmen try out that year.
The argument of history for podcast hosts.
It's rough, right? It gets very intense. But I think the most intense that I've ever experienced was actually in 2022 when you two auditioned. I don't know if you know this. And so the host at the time, after we saw everybody, they were talking about it. And I remember Rebecca Loiza, who was a senior at the time, and she was the last person on the podcast who had worked with the original podcast host. And in other words, she was the last one who actually knew the original people. And so it was very serious. I remember her pacing around. It was very interesting. She was a very calm student. And I never saw her like this. She was like practically pulling her hair, like, this has to be right. Like, we have to do this right. And so what was unusual was we were talking about you, Diary and Liam. And there were other freshmen also. And they just kind of couldn't decide, and it was like getting late. I mean, it was like 6 o'clock or something like that, and everyone had to go. And I said, okay. And this is one of the rare times they said, Mr. Corrigan, like, you sleep on this, and you have to decide, basically.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so I went home that night, and I was really stressed about it, actually, to tell you the truth. And so I had to make a decision, and I chose not to select you two, right? Okay. And in fact, here's something I want to. This is not. You didn't know we were going to talk about this, right? Is that true?
No.
Yeah, okay, just to be fair, this is not say some of the stuff we do is kind of like, clearly we kind of like plan it out, but this is not a planned out thing. So I dug through I have an email that I wrote to the Cristo Rey podcast hosts on August the 26th, 2022, which is about you two. And so I'm going to read this to you. Now, I don't mention your names in the email. That was actually, I am serious about protecting everybody, Cristo Rey. So I purposely didn't use your names. I just refer to the freshmen, and it's you two. Okay, you're the ones. Okay, and I'm going to read that email to you. Okay, and then now bear in mind, now it's hard to imagine you not being in the podcast. So I just want you to sort of reflect on that, because you kind of came through this and were told no, and then you came back and said, yes, I think there's a lesson in there, there's a story in there. So I'm going to read the email, okay? This is what I wrote on August the 26th, 2022. Okay. It says, hello, podcast people. I've been thinking a lot about the conversations we had about the different students auditioning. In particular, the conversation about the 2 freshmen we were debating over. People made good points for and against adding them to the team. I decided to sleep on it, and looking at the decision with fresh eyes, I think the priority should be to make the best team possible. There were 4 students that every one of you were 100% on board with, the other 2 not so much. I think the best decision is to only bring on those 4 that everyone on the team was totally enthusiastic about. The other 2 freshmen will have a chance to grow this year, and maybe, if they audition again next year, they'll give us that, aha, you are the one feeling. I think the names below, who are the people we actually chose, all gave us that yes, there is no doubt feeling from everyone, which ultimately is the best way to build the podcast. And that was it. How does it feel hearing that? Those 2 freshmen, that was you.
Hearing it now, when I first got rejected from the podcast, I was like, that's okay. I'm like gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying, because I really enjoyed listening to it. So I was like, it's something I really wanted to do. Which is like now strange that I'm hearing this. I'm like, oh wow, I got rejected. But it was a whole thing with me and Liam. And me and Liam has been friends for like a really long time now.
A decade.
Yeah, a decade. Yeah. So it was like, oh gosh. And like, I'm kind of like speechless, because I don't know. It wasn't something that I knew. I knew that there was like an argument between me and him.
You mentioned it before that there was an argument over some of the freshmen.
But it was never specifically who. And now that I'm hearing this, I was like, oh gosh. Like, oh god.
2 friends turned bitter rivals and both rejected.
Yeah, both rejected.
Liam, how did you feel at the time when you were told no?
I didn't expect to get in freshman year, because I felt like during the interview, like I wasn't clicking with some of the people as well as I could have. But like, I was still sad that I didn't get it, of course. It was like, oh, well, that would have been cool.
I mean, Diary, like I didn't know. Liam, a lot of you know, I knew him previously to him going to the school, but I didn't know you. I knew your sister. Yeah. And this was August 26th. This was what? First week of school? Second? Like the
third week if you were...
Yeah, like who is this girl? Like you came forward in front of all these people you probably didn't know also, like who were older. I mean, how did it feel walking in there in front of these people sitting at the table? It's the same table we're sitting at right now, right? That now you have a place at it and you're probably very comfortable. sitting
Back
at. Right?
when it still had the black lining on the
It did that people picked at it a little too much, and it eventually
fell off.
Fell off, right?
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, Liam was one of those. How did that feel?
Like first coming in?
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first time coming in to the interview.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that time I had like huge anxiety because I tend to be an overthinker a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came in, I was like, am I gonna do it right? Do I have I remember taking too much notes on the subject that we were put. I remember it was it social justice issues.
I think we do that most years actually.
And I remember like spending like a whole 2 days. Like I remember putting away my homework and spending a whole 2 days on the notes, which actually helped me for my junior year notes. Save your documents.
Mm-hmm.
Literally helps you. And
mine did not help me in any way, shape, or form.
I remember coming in and I knew some people,
mm-hmm.
but it wasn't like I tried to click with others.
Mm-hmm.
My whole goal when I came in, was I'm gonna show them that I can be open and I can express myself, but I didn't truly click with others. I wasn't like, I remember my junior year, I was talking to others, interacting with them. But in my freshman year, I was just answering questions like an interviewer. Like if this was like a serious interview. So like you could see the differences in like how I talked. And I remember being super nervous. I kept moving around. The camera was not helping me at all. So it just made it worse. And then I remember like sophomore year, I was going to do it again because I remember that you were talking to me about it. You were like, you should definitely do it again. And I was like, yes and no, because I had so many things on my plate. And I felt like if I could not click freshman year, it would be difficult for me to click again with the, or like build a connection with the host, because that was an issue for me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was just like, I'm gonna come back when I'm gaining more confidence and it's more easier for me to talk to others.
Mm-hmm. Are you the same person, both of you? Are you the same person you were when you were a freshman?
No.
I can tell you the change in her from like third grade up till now.
I can do the same thing. I'm definitely not the same person.
She got more talkative, I got less talkative, which is surprising.
Who would have known?
Like opposite. We really opposite switches.
Mm-hmm. I love when freshmen come out to audition for the podcast, and we often get lots, and we don't know them. You know, kind of a random element because they could be flaky or something. I mean, to be honest with you, right? And so our standards are we're hesitant with freshmen because you don't know what you're going to get, right? My point is, freshmen, it's great to try everything, and they try for the basketball team, and they try for the soccer team, and you try. What would you say, based on your experience? You know, now you've been very successful in this venue, right? I really believe that very strongly. What would you say to freshmen that whether it's trying out for the podcast or the basketball team and they're told freshman year no, what's your advice for them?
Reflect. What could you have done better? And why do you think that they originally made the decision, and do you think you can improve for next year if you want to do it again? If you're passionate about what you want to do, then just give it another shot when you're able.
Yeah, I would build on that with Liam. Like, reflect on it, but don't overthink it. Never overthink anything, because that was also my issue, like overthinking it. Yeah, don't overthink. If you get a no for the first time, that doesn't mean you get a no for every single year. Now, don't be nagging the people, of course, but show your interest. Show that you're actually interested, build the confidence to keep going, and like Liam said, if you're determined to do it, then absolutely try again.
If you could go back in time, think back to the emotions. It's hard to be rejected, and it's hard to reject people. I'm telling you, which is what I did, right? There's only so many slots, whether you're applying for a job or a performance type thing or a sports team, and something as a teacher I just want to express, and I think you sort of touched on this. It's not necessarily that you are bad. It's about the team and whatever the dynamic of the team was. Something I often will say at auditions, you guys heard me, I say, I don't need diary. What I mean by that is I already have diary. So I don't need another diary. I don't need a person who's like her. So whatever the combination of students were at that time, there just wasn't that place. And then later the place revealed. So it's not like you were bad and then became good necessarily. Although, Liam, you're also correct. There's room for reflection and improvement. We're not saying that. But when you get rejected, it doesn't necessarily, it's not a rejection of you necessarily. It could be that whatever the group needs, you're not really quite fitting in that moment. And that can change, right, over time. But I'm sure when you got that email, everyone gets the email, it says, thank you for auditioning. And then you open it and it says, no, right? There's probably that moment of adrenaline, like, what's it going to say? Okay. If you could go back in time, we talked about Doctor Who at the beginning, right? If you could go back in time and like appear in the room, wherever you were, when you read that email, what would you say to your past self? We were always writing these future time capsules, but now you get to go back in time. What would you say to the rejected diary and the rejected Liam?
Pick yourself up, and you got plenty of other stuff you can do. You can work on your Eagles Scout. I legitimately had to put effort into that Eagle Scout at the end because I put it off way too long.
I would say to myself and I like repeating myself all over again, don't overthink it. Whatever you need to do, gain the confidence to do it. And no is not a no for every single year. It could turn into a yes. It could turn into a maybe. So at least you gotta have a little bit of faith.
Diary, you're so mean to your past self. You wouldn't say you're gonna get in anyway. You're so vague. You might. You don't want to spoil everything. Yeah.
I can't spoil it if I go to my past self, I can be like, you're gonna get in, you're gonna be fine. No, like you gotta build the confidence.
That's great. No, I think that's wise. And for those of you that don't know, what Liam was referring to was to earn your Eagle Scout, which is the highest award in Scouting America, it has to be before your 18th birthday. Right. When did you? That's what he was referring to. So what? When was everything done and said in relation to your 18th birthday?
So I had the very last requirement, not counting paperwork, done about a week and a half before I turned 18.
Yes. So maybe going back and telling your 15-year-old self, "Hey, speed it up a little bit," might have been a little bit less stressful. He did make it through, but it was a close call, definitely. So, but we all have those throughout life, and then life moves fast and high school moves fast. Yep. And here you are at the end. We have one more quarter with you. So we're gonna, when you come back to spring break, rested, even though you kind of got a second spring break, is the one back in January. We had the whole week off because of the snow.
Did.
Yeah. So
I just wish I wasn't sick during it.
Yeah, well, there you go. You never know what you're gonna get. All right, that's all the time we have. Have a good spring break. I guess I should start singing the theme song, the legitimate version.
Hold on, Mr. Corrigan, let us sing it.
Yeah, it might actually sound good. Podcast. This was the Cristo Rey podcast. The Cristo Rey podcast that came out at you. Podcast. This was the Cristo Rey podcast. The Cristo Rey podcast. See you next week. Actually, there technically won't be an episode next week because of spring break.
Liam, do you always have to be right about everything?
I'm not right about everything,
No,
just
you
right about
generally think that
this.
No, you generally think that you're right about everything.
Right about most things.